What's going on, movie lovers? Welcome to the Brazen Black podcast, the home of the fearless African and unapologetic storytelling. I am your host, Tebatso, Mashishi, the black boy with the white skin, and we're still here at Artistry in Sandton, and we just stepped out of a dope session, and we just saw nice films. So today we are joined by the team from Blind Spot, Morgan and Sino. Please give them a round of applause. Beautiful film, I must say. But yeah, for the BBAFF'ies at home who are not familiar with you guys, just please briefly introduce yourselves and yeah, let us know the roles that you guys were doing on Blind Spot.
Okay, well, good evening. Thank you very much for having us today. My name is Sinomtha Nduna, and I was the producer of Blind Spots.
Sino's the big boss. She's the person I listen to with everything. If I have life advice, I call Sino. That's what she does on Blind Spots. My name is Morgan. I'm the first AC, so I was the focus pillar on Blind Spots, and I feel like this is a magical, wonderful ride that I just get to be a part of. And really, there's so many other people I wish we could have had here that aren't here, but we'll try and represent as best as we can.
Especially our director and writer who couldn't be with us this evening.
And our DP, Mikey, yes. Magic. Everything he touches is magic. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, Misa couldn't be here with us today because she had a funeral. But yeah, she's going to see the podcast and she's probably going to be part of you guys. So yeah, so let us dive into the story. The concept Blind Spot, where does it come from? What was the process, from the film?
Sure. So Blind Spots comes from Missy's personal dating experience.
Oh.
Yes. She's been writing this for the past few years, actually. It's been just stuck in her archives, and fortunately, we got the opportunity to actually get it made, right? With funding thanks from the NFEF and the GFC as well, with the support of our friends who also give us their equipment sometimes, So basically, yeah, it is Missy's direct story, and I think Missy got the confidence of making this after she went to therapy, dealing with her, or just rather talking about her relationship. Right, and just kind of identifying the blind spots in relationships, not just from the other person's perspective, but also from hers as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a love story like any other, and like we had the Q&A during the screening right now, it's more for our audiences to ask themselves, what are their blind spots, and have they identified them really?
So did Missy probably share what inspired the film, from her going to therapy? Was it something relationship related?
Not to share too much because she's also my best friend.
Okay.
So I know more than I should be telling, but
But it inspired a dope film, though.
Yes, of course. She had a long date. She was actually in a long distance relationship.
Okay.
Right, and I think that's when she was identifying the blind spots that she had because they had such a strong connection online on the phone. They were tighter than ever, and then the time came when they met. And then they're like, do I actually know you? They've been chatting for months and months on the phone. And then only when they met in person, then things started getting awkward. And then now we understand that maybe our blind spots are clearer when we actually really get to know the person outside of the honeymoon phase. Or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. I think something obviously that also, if I can just jump in, that stands out is it's obviously a queer story, but I think an important perspective of the film is that it's not a queer story for the sake of a queer story. Rather, it is a relationship dynamic that takes place with queer people, and I think that's also an important part of the story is representation without forcing a narrative, perhaps.
And speaking about queer relationships, what would you say is the difference in representation of queer stories and heterosexual stories?
Yeah, that's quite.
It's a broad one. I think
briefly though.
Like I said, I think obviously traditional media is normalized around heterosexual relationships and stuff, but I think sometimes when you watch films and content that's about queer stories, it's about the fact that it's queer and that's the story.
Yeah.
And I think Blind Spots takes power away from that in the sense of the story isn't the queerness, the story is just love and relationships and blind spots, and it happens in a queer environment. And I think that's important because you're not like making a circus act, if you will, out of a queer relationship. Like that is not the punchline. Rather, queer things or queer spaces also have normal love stories. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think also, whether Missy was queer or heterosexual, I think Blind Spots would have still been a movie that would have been made, right? It just happens that she's a queer filmmaker, but it doesn't take away from the story that we're trying to tell, like identifying your blind spots in a romantic relationship.
And what stands out beautifully, right, is a split screen. Because I thought at one point that it was gonna be one screen, but it was just two screens throughout. So can you just briefly describe like what went through the process of getting to that choice?
Technical crew.
Okay, so camera department, I'll take that one on. So when I read the script initially, Michael Carter is the DP for this film. He's incredible. Like I said, everything he touches just turns into magic. And when I initially read the script, I was like, okay, cool, it's a love story, it's fine. And then Mikey sent through his creative treatment. And he was like, we're doing a split screen. And I always make this joke because he forced us to watch the oldest, Frenchest movies you've ever heard of in your life that you will never watch.
Ever again.
Ever again. But it was this beautiful split screen movie. And Michael came at it from the perspective of, we need a mechanism to tell the story because it's not a dialogue film. And I think that vehicle brought out the blind spot thing really well. So like as an audience member, you are aware and you're seeing the blind spots happen, but as the characters playing out, that they obviously don't see it. So I think it's a mechanism to get the story through, but then from a technical perspective, it had to be in post-production because there was a lot of pre-planning that went into making sure that we had the cameras, that we had the pterodactyls, that we had the tentacles, that we had the monitors, and like there was a lot of technical stuff that went on. So Mikey did the predominance of the operating when we have both of the characters, but at times we had two cameras on set kind of shooting both. And then like I said earlier in our Q&A, I think it like adds this crescendo when the one character walks over into the other side and then we have both on the one side and it's this beautiful moment. So I think it just emphasizes the perspective of the film, which is blind spots. And like you are the main character in your own story, but you are the main character in your own story, and that's the film, really.
Yeah, because like speaking of blind spots, right? Because when you are watching one frame, there are certain things that you miss on the other frame. So I think it spoke to that thing of the blind spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I've got a question for Ali here, First AC, right? I'd like you to tell us what lenses you guys use, and because I hate speaking about your cinematographer and DOP, and how amazing he is. Unfortunately, I didn't see the film, but I'm very much interested to hear from you as a focus puller. Do you guys shoot fully open and stops and whatever? Excuse me, sorry, man.
Okay, this is a lot of questions to answer on a full bottle of wine. But I'll give it a go.
Tell us what lenses
So
you
Mike
guys
and I
use.
shot on the Canon. I think it was the
I hear you speaking about your cinematographer, like the DOP,
if I remember correctly. Now we shot on
Unfortunately, I
prime
didn't see the
lenses, so
film,
he's
but
got a kit of.
I'm very much interested to hear from
I
you
can't
as a
remember
focus
which prime
puller.
lenses. I want to
You
say
guys
Sigmas,
shoot
but we
fully
shot on
open,
primes.
f-stops and
And like I
whatever,
said,
and
predominantly we shot
just
on
that.
one camera, like scene or moment for moment, because it is split screen. So the whole film happens split screen. For those of you that haven't seen it, from a technical point of view, that's quite difficult. But there are two characters. So when they were in their own thing, we shot over 3 days. We would just have one camera and try and keep that as is. But then when we went onto the second cam, we didn't have the exact same lenses. So like we'll have a 35 on one and a 50 on another. The idea wasn't to match it, but rather to have a perspective of that character thing. Most of it was locked off, so we weren't fully wide open. I think we were operating around about a 5.6 f, so pretty standard stuff. We did have one tracking shot where we followed one of the characters where we were quite wide open because we did a couple of light day for night things. There's one shot that I'm so proud of there. It's the stupidest shot ever. It's literally just her opening the door and it looks like there's sunlight coming in.
That was dope.
That was at night. That was at night, and that was just lighting. And literally every time I see that, I'm like, no one even knows. It was pitch black, dark outside. Yeah. So
Was it dark?
That was dark. It was the last shot of the film, I actually think, if I remember.
And it took the longest. The setup
Took the
was long,
longest.
yeah.
We lit day for night or night for day, and we were on one camera, and it's just gorgeous. But yeah, pretty much. So we were on Canons, we were on prime lenses. We shot not all the way wide open. And we try to match as much as possible. There's also this really cool scene where they're having their dinner date and they're like playing cards and having drinks or whatever. And that was literally just Mikey and I on a freaking tripod, like following the actors. And they were just going. And we were like, please, please, let it be in focus. You know what I mean? So it looks like it's very technically planned out, and it really is. But a lot of what happened in that film was really just us having fun on camera. And Michael trusting me and me going, Mikey, I don't know. And he's like, just do the thing. So yeah, turned out not too bad.
Just a last question, right?
Yes.
How important is it though for females and women
Yes.
to be in the space that you're in? Because the next step is to be Mike.
Love the question. Thank you for that. I appreciate the question very much. So I do DP my own stuff as well. I always feel like if we're talking in a first AC space, people are like, the race to DP. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
But
and
there's space for all of us.
Just the last
men,
question,
women,
right?
black,
How
white, female,
important
whatever
is
you
it
wanna
though
say.
for
And
females and women
it's
to
an
be
honor
in
and
the
a privilege
space that
to
you're in?
work
Because
under
now the
Michael
next
Carter.
step
It
is
really
you being Mikey.
Sino and
You know what I'm
Mashishi giving me
saying?
opportunities
Yes.
to DP
Yes.
as well, where it's appropriate and where it suits my style, and that's been great and wonderful for us. However, I think they always strive to have females as HODs. I mean, our director-writer is a female, our producer is a female. It was female actresses. A female first AC, I think, is wonderful because, you know, focus pulling's not easy, you know. Yeah, I think there's space for collaboration. I think Michael's style suited the film, and I'm happy for him to take the lead where he needs to. I have a lot to learn from him. And we have a great collaboration going as well. And I love being his first AC because we have worked on a couple of films together now, thanks to them as a crew. And it's not really a captain, co-captain thing. I think it's really just what suits the style. And my style is my style, and I do my own thing. And Mikey is my second in command when it is appropriate. You know what I'm saying? But this was his baby, and forever it's a privilege to have been part of it in the role that I was.
So just quick one before I let you guys go. The funding. How did you guys go about getting the funding for the film?
Cool. So it really is a humbling moment when funders identify your film, because I know that it's not an easy process. I mean,
Sure.
there's thousands, maybe perhaps even millions of us filmmakers who really want to push our work out there, and we have received a lot of rejections. But it's very positive and it's very encouraging when your story reaches someone's hands and they're like, we see this film being made on screen. We see the kind of story and the kind of impact these filmmakers are trying to achieve. So we got funding from the NFEF. Shout out to them.
Shout out to NFEF.
We got funding from the GFC as well. And I think along the years, I think it's been about since we started our company in 2019, but I think our very, very first funding was 2021, right? Morgan, of course, was also part of that one as well. So, we write these stories. We always searching. We research for funding opportunities. As the producer, it's my job to find these opportunities. Messi pulls out like an amazing treatment, and we put the budgets together, and we just cross fingers and we really, really pray to God that someone catches drift of our stories, and that's how basically it happened.
And with this one, the funders did catch the right one because I saw it. Dope film. Thank you guys for your time. We really, really, really appreciate it. Yeah, continue going strong. Continue going strong and inspiring other women in film. Yes, thank you very much. And that's it from us, BBAFF'ies, here at Artistry in Sandton. Salute, BBAFF'ies.